Arena! Hey, Chris in the house with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and you already can see the split screen here because you know a tier list is coming. Today, I'm going to present you the best sets tier list of Raid Shadow Legends from January of 2026. Because while most of the community it's surfing on the hype of some leagues or something like that, I am in another mood. I am trying to give you a better performance, a better experience of what you already have, and guide you to have a better account management, to do better with what you already have or what you're trying to get. And this list, it's here to make you observe your items and know where to invest your resources. Which sets are really good, which sets are not that good, which sets deserves you spend a lot of energy on them, which sets don't deserve, which sets you keep a lot of pieces, which sets you don't keep a lot of pieces, just a small amount. And that's for what this tier list is here. Okay, this is going to be based on a few categories that I created myself. These categories over here, basically they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. They are classified on SS, the best. These are the sets that are by far the most important ones, the one that you're going to put the highest amount of effort, resources, everything that you're able to get them, because they are a lot superior to the others. The S tier, the second tier that we have here, the extremely powerful one, that you're going to keep many pieces, invest a lot on them too, because they are very powerful sets to have. The A tier, the very good ones, that we're going to keep a good amount of pieces because they are useful in many moments of the games and many areas of the game. The B, the useful sets we don't use all the time, but sometimes we need them, and when we need them, we want to have some amount to fulfill our necessities. Okay, these are the B tier, we're gonna keep some. The C tier, they are better than the normal versions, so we might keep very few amount of pieces, only the perfect ones. And the D tier, the last one, the most useful pieces that we have, most useful sets, let's say like that. They are not good. They are not good. We basically don't use them anywhere, so we are only going to keep the perfect pieces. Okay, so this is the sets and categories that we're going to use. Here are all the 64 sets that we have in game right now, and we're going to classify and make comments about each one of them, which are important, which are not. So I split the screen here to have a visual of everything. The first thing that I want to show you, it is here. Let me even move myself. This is the page that we have the 64 sets, and it's good to have all pieces of all kind of sets. Okay, if we have 64 in the game, it's good to have all the 64, and we have pieces in all the 64 sets. But this guide is to make you to have something around that, because when I expand this list of sets, you're gonna see a huge difference in the amount of pieces kept from each set based on the importance they have. This is the first thing that I want to show you. Look here, I have from the life set 1 line and 1 piece. From the offense set, almost 2 lines. For the defense set, fewer more than 1 line. From the speed set, I will not even count the lines. I will not count the lines, but did you notice the difference between a very important set and a not very important set? From these, I only keep a very few pieces. From that, I put all my effort. That's the difference between how you should keep your items. When I'm going past the sets, you're gonna see for the amount of pieces that I keep from each set, the importance they have to me or to my gameplay because of the amount of pieces of the set that I keep. Look Relentless. Look Relentless. Another extremely important set. Look Savage. Do you notice the difference? This is what I want to share with you. You have to know which sets are important to keep, which sets are worth your space on inventory more than the others. Because when you're close to a set that is more important, you're gonna keep more pieces from it. You see a lot of sets with one line, and you see a lot of sets with an incredible amount of lines. That's how important they are, you know? That's something that you need to know, because this is gear management, and that makes your account evolve in a level that you doesn't know yet, or you're searching to know, you know? Because if you have very low amount of pieces in a very important set, it means you're missing pieces for when you need. Okay, for example here, Stone Skin, probably the set that we have most amount of pieces. It is crazy the importance of the set, and we're going to discuss all of that, but I wanted to show you how I handle my gear and the difference in the amount of pieces I have between the sets based on their importance. These are sets that are really important, the last ones, the new ones, but we have very few amount of pieces because they are difficult and very new. So we had not that much amount of time to collect them, but they are extremely powerful, and with time they are going to grow in number. Okay, basically here the pinpoint, it's a limited time set, so we only have a few time to farm it. The same for the chrono phase. We have the very new one, only 1 month in the game, the Mercurial, not even 1 month yet. But I wanted to show these to you. This is the whole picture of the set view for you to see the difference between the amount of pieces we have for different sets, because this is how you're going to manage your pieces. So let's start with each set. Okay, let me split the screen again to make it easier. And we're going on the sequence that we have for the sets in game. Let me put myself in the middle again. And let's go. The first set, life set. 2-piece set gives 15% more HP. This is one of the oldest sets in the game, and I'm going to put him on a D tier because we don't use this set anymore for nothing. So from this set, and all the sets you see on C and D category, you are only going to keep very few amount of pieces. Only the pieces that you judge that are perfect or close to perfection. Okay, and on this category, we have almost all the very old sets, like life set, offense set, 2 pieces of set that gives attack 15%. The defense set, 2 pieces of set that gives defense 15%. They are on the D category. Very useless sets. We only keep very powerful pieces. Then we have a very old set that goes on the same way. 2 pieces that gives 12% of speed. But this time it is different. This is SS tier set because the speed is a stat that plays a major role on Raid Shadow Legends. When you're talking about arena, when you talk about speed tuning on the PvE, when you talk about every content of the game, speed plays a major role. Okay, so the speed set is, in my opinion, the most important set in the game because it's the one that you can farm all the time. Okay, the dragon is always there for you to farm, and the impact of this set is on the highest possible on all the sets. That's why you see so many of my videos that I put all the energy that I got into events like 3 times the speed, into make experiments on the buying packs or on the market, trying to get more pieces from this set, because this set, it's the most impactful set in the game. We have sets that are close to him right now because, like I said, he's a very old set. Okay, a very old set. We have sets that do almost the same as him, but this is a farmable set. You can farm it everywhere. And that's the difference between this set and the other very important set that gives speed to, because we can farm it everywhere. So the amount of pieces of this set that we're going to have during a long run, it is infinitely higher than we have for the other sets that are equally powerful and gives speed or extra effects, but we won't have as much pieces as we have from speed set. So he is the top core of the SS tier, the best sets in the game, the ones that you should spend your most amount of resources, that you have to keep the most amount of pieces. Okay, continue. Critical rate set, 2 pieces gives critical rate 12%. Another very old set. It has a little bit more utility, okay, than the D tier, because sometimes you want a little bit of extra critical rate. So he's better than the normal versions that we have here on the bottom. I'm going to put him on the C tier, but from this set, you're going to follow the same rule as the D tier, only keep perfect pieces. This is an offensive set, so you only want the mage dealing pieces most of the time, on exception squad roll or penta rolls on speed. Critical damage. 2 pieces of set that gives 20% critical damage. Okay, now we have a very old set that it's B tier. We're gonna keep some pieces because this is a good set. Okay, it gives us critical damage, which is a very important stat for offensive champions that will do your damage, and this is a good source of damage. This is an important set that you use on PvP. Nowadays, very, very, very less compared to the past because of the special sets that we have right now. So these old sets here lost spaces, with exception of a few exceptions like speed set that continues king. Okay, but most of these sets, old versions of sets, lost space because of the new sets, the ones from the bottom that does the same as then and more. They are more complex, and nowadays they are more important. We're gonna reach that point. So the critical damage set lost space. In the past, he was a S tier set, okay, but now he fall to the B tier. You're gonna keep some pieces, mostly offensive pieces. Okay, but we still gonna keep some pieces because we still use him on PvE and PvP. Okay, sometimes we want to build a Hydra team that we need to target the Hydra first devour on a champion, and on this champion we need the highest amount of critical damage that we need. For that, we're gonna use critical damage gear on that champion and something like that. It's an application of this set on PvE. Sometimes we're building a champion that we don't care that much about survivability. We want a poor amount of damage because the champion has a crazy good passive, and we want to put the best amount of damage that we are possible to put on him. We don't have special sets, so you're gonna use the critical damage set on that champion for the PvP scenario. So still a good set to have. Accuracy set, 2 pieces and give accuracy. Okay, this is a very old set that is still a very good set. Okay, let me find, okay, it's in a different color here, but okay. This is an A tier set. It's a very old set, but the impact of the accuracy stats is really high. So this is still a very useful set. Okay, it is a good tier. We're gonna keep good amount of pieces from this set because we still use it. Basically, from this set, you're gonna aim on speed and accuracy because it's what's important on it. On the same way, we have the resistance set, another old set that is complementary to the accuracy. The same way we have a set that 2 pieces give 40 accuracy, we have a set that 2 pieces gives 40 resistance. So it is like the opposite version of it and has the same amount of impact. They are both A tier sets that we're gonna keep some pieces. On the accuracy set, you focus on speed and accuracy on the pieces. On resistance set, you focus on speed and resistance. And then we go for the lifesteal sets. 4 pieces heals by 30% of the damage dealt. Very old set that was extremely impactful for beginners. Okay, when I started the game, everything that I had was built in lifesteal because I couldn't handle any content of the game without using lifesteal. But nowadays, it is a not good set. Okay, we have so powerful starts in the game right now. Usually you start with a promo code, so you get legendary champions, or you get very powerful starters that you don't need to rely on lifesteal anymore to be a beginner or to start the game. It's still an impactful set for the beginning, but that lasts 1 week, maybe 3 days, 4 days, and you going past the level of needing lifesteal most of the time. Okay, it's still a set you can use for the beginning of the game, like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months maximum. After that, probably you're not going to use it again for your entire raid career. So this is a set that is not important anymore. It was before, but it is not anymore. So I'm going to classify as D tier, but top of the D tier. Okay, when you start the game, you keep some pieces, even the bad ones, and when you evolve, you discard most of them. Full reset, 4 sets, piece. The damage increases depending on the champion's current HP, 100% to 76%, more 10%, 75 to 51 plus 25%, 50% or lower, 50% more damage. Okay, this is a very old set that we don't use at all in almost any champion. The only champion that I ever saw using this set, it was Leorius when he was launched. He could do some things. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the D tier here because it can appear a champion that has a particular good relationship with this set, but we don't have at the moment someone in specific that we use this set. So this is a set that we don't use anywhere and on any champion, not particularly any champion or any place. So this is a set that is forgotten in the time. Okay, this is a set that we basically just keep perfect pieces if one day something happens that uses this set. Daisy set, one of the control sets of the game, 4 pieces, 25% to place, 25% chance to place sleep debuff for 1 turn. Sleep between the crowd control debuffs is the weakest one. So the Daisy set between the control sets that we have, it is the weakest one, but it's still a useful set. Okay, so I'm going to put it on B tier. We don't need to keep crazy amount of pieces, but we keep some amount of pieces, both support and offensive pieces, because it can be helpful on some strategies, maybe on some champions to control waves. So it is a good set to have a few amount of pieces and options. Not as much as the other control sets that we're going to see in the future, because they are more impactful, but at least some. Cursed set. 4 set pieces that has 50% of chance of placing Hex debuff for 2 turns. This is a very old set that took a rework and became a really useful set. Okay? Right now, it is extremely useful in some PvE areas, but I'm not going to classify him as S tier set, okay? I'm going to put him on here, very good, on a top position, because this set is extremely useful in some areas of the game, like Hydra. Hydra is top tier set. You're gonna need it. He's extremely useful on Chimera too, okay, to fulfill buffs on the Chimera bar, controlling the amount of buffs. So it's a very useful set. And here and there we have strategies around this set. He's a way of multiplying your damage in bosses that has more than one place to put damage. That is wonderful, like the Hydra, because he splashes your damage. Very, very good set to have. Okay, between the sets that we have on PvE usage, one of the best. Very niche, but very helpful. Frost set. 4 pieces of set that has 20% of chance to place freeze debuff for 1 turn on the attacker. So it is one of the crowd control sets, but instead of being an action is a reaction, you know? It is not an active play, it is a passive play. You need to be attacked for him to work. So he loses a little bit of power compared to the other set. So I'm going to put it on the C tier category here because we don't use it a lot. You can use this set for sure, you know, because actually I'm going to put it on D tier. You can use this set. Okay, there are still a few champions that use this set, but we have a better version of it that does the same thing and only uses 2 pieces, so it's a way better to use the other version of it because it's more impactful and does the same thing with less amount of pieces. So Frost set, not a very useful set, only keep perfect pieces. Frenzy set, 4 pieces of set that has as effect plus 5% turn meter for each debuff received. Gosh, this set had another effect in the past. He suffered a rework, and right now I think he's one of the most useless sets in the game. You should only keep... He's on the same level of the Fury on that category. You don't use this set on anybody, probably. Maybe a very, very low amount of strategies can go around. In the past, he had another effect. So we used to use him a little more in the past because the effect it was useful in some very specific strategies on the past, but after he had a rework, he became more useless. Okay, so right now we don't use this set at all anywhere that I know. Someone might use it for some strategy, but in general, not a set that we need. Good amount of pieces, needed to put a lot of resources farming it or using resources on it. Just keep perfect pieces. Regeneration set, 4 pieces of set that heals by 50% every turn. This is a really good set. Okay, we use this set in a lot of strategy, so he's an A tier set here that we're gonna keep good amount of pieces on this set. Because in many scenarios on the PvE, we need champions. Even more when you put in champions to solo content. This is the set that most of the solo content champions are going to use. Like, you put a champion to go alone against a wave or maybe with food and the food's going to die and this champion needs to kill the waves and kill the boss alone. Usually it's this kind of set that we use on these champions. And there is a lot of strategies in the game that we use that on PvE scenarios. So this is a good set to have a good amount. Okay, that's why he's A tier, very good set, and we're gonna keep good amount of pieces for him. Immunity set used to be one of the most important sets in the game in the past, but we had meta changes that put this set aside, and new versions of it spotted more powerful than him, so he lost his power during that. So the immunity set used to be king. Right now he's a B tier set, okay? On the bottom of the B tier, let's say like that, you're gonna keep some pieces because you might use it. But we have better sets than it that does what he does and more. That's why he lost a few positions there. Shield set, very unique set, 4 pieces that puts a HP ally shield for 3 turns. Okay, we use that a lot in many strategies for PvP, for PvE, for many areas. He's on the top of the A category, gonna keep good amount of pieces. The Titus compositions here spins around this set. Okay, so this set was powerful, good enough in the past in many compositions and even on PvP and PvE. And after the Titus was brought to the game, the value of the set got even higher because he's more important right now because of the Titus team composition and more. This is a set with application on PvP and PvE and very good application on both. Okay, very strong set to have, the shield set. You're gonna keep good amount of pieces on it. Okay, very good set. Relentless set, one of my favorite sets. 4 pieces, 18% of chance of getting an extra turn. Each consecutive chances reduces by 45%. He was nerfed more than once in the past 6 years of Raid because he is a very impactful set. Okay, this is one of my favorite sets in the game, and I'm not going to classify it as SS tier, but he should. Okay, I'm going to classify him as extremely powerful because we have sets that are more important than him. Even so, personally, is one of my favorite sets. I use it almost everywhere on the PvP, on my top champions on PvP, and on PvE on my top champions on PvE. That's how good this set is. Contents like Hydra, Chimera, Clan Boss, like waves, everything. I love this set. He's extremely powerful. The extra turn is an effect that brings a lot. So you should keep a lot of pieces on this set. Invest a lot on this set. Okay, you're gonna keep support pieces, offensive pieces, niche pieces. Okay, pieces that you only use on a specific champion. This is a set to do it. Extremely powerful set. Okay, S tier. Savage set. 4 pieces of set ignores 25% of the enemy defense. Okay, as we have speed of one of the oldest sets that keeps extremely impactful, the Savage set, it is like other half of the coin. Okay, he is an SS tier set, one of the best in the game, because offensively, he is the greatest set of the game. Not in effect, we have stronger sets than Savage, okay, but he is the only one that we are able to farm all the time, because the Fahrenheit is there open 24 hours, 7 days a week for you to farm. So in a very long raid career or in an extensive raid career, you're gonna have more pieces of Savage than the other versions that are more powerful than him. Okay, so you're gonna build more champions in Savage because you have more overall quality if you have a long career. If your career on raid is short, you should have more pieces of the other versions of it. Okay, but do not mistake, Savage is an SS tier set and one of the 2 sets alongside speed that you should invest the most amount of your resources in it. Okay, extremely powerful on the offensive side. Your nukers need Savage, and the highest amount of Savage set, quality Savage set you have on your account, the most amount of good nukers you're going to build. Sometimes I drive a lot of crazy whalish account, and sometimes I join the account, and the guy has all the champions in the game, 6-star plus 4, but he only have 4 lines of Savage set on the account. So he have like 50 plus 4 6-star nukers to build and only have 4 lines of Savage, which means I can only build 4 nukers, maybe 6. And okay, he's going to have more than 80% of his champions without good sets because he does not have the good amount of pieces of a very important set. So the Savage set is one of the sets that you're going to keep a huge amount of piece because he's that important. Okay, not saying that the other versions that are superior to him you shouldn't keep, but the importance of the Savage is very high. Okay, Destroy set, 4 pieces of set that destroy enemy max HP by 40%. Right now this is a useless set because we have relics even like gemstones that does this effect without needing to put 4 pieces. You just keep 1 gemstone and you do exactly the same effect. So this set that was used purely just to use on the Scarab boss most of the time to be almost useless. So he's now on the D tier category that we only keep perfect pieces. Stun set, 4 pieces of set that has 18% of chance to place stun debuff for 1 turn. Like the Daisy set, like I said, is a control. The stun debuff is a lot more powerful than the sleep debuff. Okay, that's why we have 25% here and we only have 18% here because this debuff is more impactful. Okay, this is a very, very, very powerful crowd control debuff, probably one of the best in the game. So that's why this is one of the control sets that are more important than the days right now. So the stun set, we're gonna keep a little bit more pieces than we keep the day set. So I'm going to put here on the useful, on a higher placement than we put the others. Because between the control set, the stun set, I think is the best one. And he is not only the best one for PvP, but he's also the best one for PvE. Okay, so we're gonna use that a lot on PvP and PvE. Toxic set, 4 pieces of set that has 75% chance of placing the small version of the poison debuff for 2 turns. Okay, this is another useful set that puts a debuff. We use him mostly on PvE content, okay, specifically on Chimera and some strategies on some dungeons. I'm going to put him here on the B tier. He's useful and we need some good amount of pieces on it. We use it on Sun Devil sometimes, we use it on Hydra sometimes, on Chimera a lot of times, on Clan Boss many times. Okay, it's a useful set and we need some pieces of that, support and offensive wise. Provoke set, 4 pieces of set that has 30% of chance to place provoke debuff for 1 turn. Another crowd control set that has the highest chance between the crowd control sets. Okay, he is more useful than the days. Okay, so I'm going to put here in a higher position than the days, but he is lower in graduation compared to the stun because the provoke is not as good as the stun as a crowd control buff. We use it sometimes on arena very low amount of times compared to stun, and compared to days we don't use at all, but he can be used. Okay, and on PvE content we use the provoke set. Okay, mostly on Hydra, many champions we use the provoke set to put provoke on the heads that can suffer this debuff. It's very useful. Retaliation set, two pieces of set that has 15% of chance of counter attack when hit. Most people don't like this set, but I like this set. I like this set and I think he's a powerful set. So I'm going to put him here on the useful category, on the B category, on the middle to the bottom, because I think he has some place in the game. Okay, there are some champions that he's useful and he's very useful. He's a niche set. Okay, you're not going to use many, so we're going to just keep some specific pieces and only offensive pieces most of the time. Exceptions is quad and pentarolls on speed. Okay, Avenging set is another version of the retaliation, but 4 pieces instead. Okay, instead of the 2 pieces, and instead of the hit, it counterattacks when a debuff is placed on the champion. So I think it's less useful that it is. Okay, we have another color here, so I'm going to put it as on the C tier, lower positions, because I don't think it is that much impactful. But you're also going to only keep offensive pieces of this set. Okay, it is like a lower version of the retaliation with specific triggers that are different, but not as good as retaliation in my opinion. Stalwart set, 4 pieces, less 30% damage taken from AoE enemy attacks. This was a good set in the past. It was used in some categories. Now is a very niche set. Very niche set. I'm going to put here in the C category, in between the Avenging and the Critical Rate set, because right now we don't use this set almost anywhere. He lost his power due to the meta changes and launching of new sets that does almost the same thing with better results, let's say like that. So right now, if he is on the C tier, you only keep perfect pieces. Reflex set, 4 pieces of set that has 40% of chance to reduce the random skill cooldown by 1 turn. Okay, we have one of the best PvE sets in the game here. I'm going to put it on the A category here in front of the shield set because he has more utility overall. Okay, he is a very good set to have, and you're going to keep good amount of pieces on it, both for support and offense. Okay, because this is a set that we use a lot on champions that we want to get their skills back. Champions that take a lot of advantage of the usage of 1 or maybe 2 skills, and we want these champions to get this skill back. So, clan bosses, Hydra, Chimera, the clan boss itself, We use that set a lot. Mostly on Hydra and Chimera, it's like half of the team is going to use this set alongside Relentless. How powerful this set is. So Reflex set is extremely useful set for PvE scenario. Okay, we are going to use a lot this set and we need a lot of pieces from it. So he's a very good tier of this set. Curing set. 4 pieces, 20% bonus heal, also restores the amount of destroyed HP equal to the bonus healing. Very old set that we almost don't use anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to put here on the D tier on the right side of the lifesteal set, because basically we don't use this set anywhere. We're just going to keep extremely powerful pieces that we farm from this set because he's not good enough and we don't have the need of using that for healing. Here, healing is a strategy that we almost do not use on active scenarios or mostly on passive scenarios like regeneration here, but not that much actively. There is a strategy or two that uses this set, but they are very niche, and that's why we're going to keep some pieces, the good ones. Cruel set, previously one of the best sets in the game, that lost space due to the new sets that appeared in the game and the meta changes. So this set was as much as important as Savage set was in the past, but he lost space. It's a 2-piece set that gives attack and ignore defense. So it was a complementary set that we used to use alongside Savage in many champions, but with the new sets that appeared in the meta, he lost space. But he's still a very good set. Okay, so I'm going to put him here. Okay, on the A tier in the middle of it, because it's still a set that is useful in the same scenario that we use the critical damage set. Niche peaks, niche champions, and some PvE content that we want to raise our damage and we don't need to survive that much. So it's still a very impactful set, and a set that we need good amount of pieces because we still can use, and the meta can change and he come back to be really big powerful set. Immortal, it is like the broader set of the Cruel. 2 pieces gives us HP and heals HP by 30% every 3% every turn. It's like a smaller version of the regeneration with less piece. Usually they are complementary. Okay, we usually when you beat the champion with regeneration, you also put the Immortal set on it. So right now, the Immortal set is alongside the Cruel, a very good set to have. He lost lower amount of space than the Cruel. The Cruel in the past was here, probably even here. But right now, he's here on the A tier. Okay, the Immortal was always an A tier set. Okay, not as impactful as the Cruel was in the past, but still an impactful set. Okay, very useful. It's a complementary set. Usually when you build a champion with regeneration, you also build him with 4 pieces of regeneration, 2 of Immortal, because the effects are really similar. Okay, and now we join the Divine part of the sets. They are basically better versions of these 4 sets that we have, 5 sets that we have, even more. These 5 sets that we have here. So the Divine sets that we have are basically upgraded versions of the ones that we had from the previous ones. So they give what the normal set gives. For example, the Divine Offense gives the 15% that the offense set gives, but he also gives a 50% HP self shield for 3 turns. The same for the Divine Critical Rate, the same for the Divine Speed, the same for the Divine Life, Divine Speed. They offer the same as the basic version of the set, but they do a little bit more, that it is the shield. Okay, so I'm going to put them in the C category because they do the same, but they are better than the normal versions. So let me go in order. The Divine Offense. Okay, the Divine Life. The Divine Critical Rate. Okay, the Divine Critical Rate. Do I have? Yes, here. It's better than the Critical Rate version, for sure. And here we have the Divine Speed. The Divine Speed is better than the speed. Okay, in general, does the same, gives the 12% with 2 pieces, but it also gives speed. So I'm going to put it in front of the speed set. But one thing it is, we cannot farm. Actually, I'm going to put here. Okay, because of the importance. Okay, the speed set is farmable. The divine speed set is not farmable. We can only get it by buying it on the store or winning events. Okay, so it's extremely raw set to have access. For example, look at the amount of pieces that I have. And this set does the same as the speed set plus the shield. But look at the amount of speed pieces that I have. Because I can farm speed pieces, but I cannot farm divine speed. To farm divine speed, I need to go here on the store and I can buy it. Okay, so it's an expensive set. It's a pay-to-win set that has a better version of the speed set. But because he's not farmable, we cannot have many pieces of it. In my opinion, he has less amount of space in our daily life than the speed set has. The speed set is more important than the divine speed. Even the divine speed being more powerful, okay? Because we cannot farm it and we can farm speed. And that's the most important thing that makes the difference of both. But I'm still going to classify it as SS tier because it is a stronger version of one of the strongest sets. Okay, and now we join the part of the what it is new and the stars to give extra effects. Let's go. Swift Parry set. This is a set that's going to, in the future, getting a rework. So in the next tier list of sets that I did, maybe he's up there in the SS tier or maybe drag it down, I don't know, because he's going to be a 9-piece set. Okay, he is still a 4-piece set that gives you speed and critical damage and has a unique effect. 50% of chance of getting unkillable for 1 turn when hit by a fatal hit. This is a very, very, very powerful set. Extremely useful. I'm going to put here is a set that gives first speed. So a red 4 pieces, but a red very impactful. In the past, many players had these as fastest set of the account because we didn't have the sets that are going down here in the past. So when he was launched, for many players, it was the fastest set of the account. Okay, even more than speed. But right now, for sure, it's not anymore for most of the players. But it's still a crazy strong set. There are many strategies on classicarena, on livearena, champions like Carnage that takes a lot of advantage of this set because he's very powerful, very powerful. He gives speed, he gives critical damage, and he gives the thing that is the best, that's the unique effect, the chance of unkillable when you're going to die. So very unique set, is going to suffer a rework. We don't know how it is going to be, so maybe he's dragged down on the next list, or maybe he's going up. Okay, we don't know. Deflection set. It is a broader set to the Swift Parry. They were introduced at the same way when the Platinum Arena came. Okay, and we can forge them on the Forge too. It is a defensive version of set. 4 pieces give us HP, defense, and 25% of chance of deflecting the debuff onto the attacker when a debuff is placed onto the wearer. Many people don't use this set because they don't have many, but it's a useful set, okay? I'm going to put it here in the middle of the useful tier because it is a set that has some utility. There are some good strategies around it on this meta that we have right now. But it's a set we don't farm that much and we don't craft that much because it's an expensive forging set. Okay, so it's not that easy to obtain. And it is another set that's going to suffer a rework alongside the Swift Parry. So it is going to become a 9 pieces of set. We don't know what it is going to do or how it's going to be the effect. So next tier list, maybe he's higher, maybe he's down. We don't know yet. Hopefully both the Swift Parry and the Deflection are going to be on higher positions on the next tier list. Okay, and we are going to be introduced to the sets that were introduced when the Forge came. First is Resilience, 2 pieces of set that gives HP and defense. Right now, this is a set that we only used to get Silva because we don't care about his effect. So I'm going to put him on the top tier of the D position because he is our best source of silver in the game most of the time. We forged this set just to sell it and get silver because his effect is pretty much useless. Okay, we just get HP and defense and not very impactful amount of them. And basically this is not good enough to use in any champion. Basically this is a set that we only forge to sell, or we keep very, very powerful pieces in case we ever gonna use them, like quad rolls or penta rolls or something like that. On the other side, his brother set that was introduced at the same time, the Perception, became one of the strongest sets in the game. It gives on 2 pieces of set accuracy, the same as the accuracy set, but it also gives the speed. And automatically, because of that, he became one of the strongest sets in the game. So I'm going to put here on extremely powerful, even in front of the Relentless, because it has overall more utility to most of the players. Right now, when you start an account, this is the first source of accuracy and speed that you have usually. So for the beginners to the early game, mid game accounts, this is extremely powerful set. Is a first source of accuracy and speed for most of the accounts. And when you reach mid game, end game, and even extremely end game, this become a source of a lot of utility for PvE and also for PvP. Okay, we still use these sets on our best champions, and for some players this is going to be still be the fastest pieces of the account. So for example, if I go to my R base, that is the second fastest speed champion on my account. Right now she has like 469 speed. As you can see, I use 2 pieces of Perception in it. Do I have better pieces of speed? Yes, but I don't have the stats that I have on these. Okay, so I use these pieces on that champion, and it's the second fastest champion on my account. And I'm extremely endgame player. As you can see, it is impactful for speed and for the effect on many players. Okay, from the early game to the extremely end game, this is an extremely powerful set, and I think one of the best sets that we can have from the Forge. Okay, this set had a very important social function into the game because he straightened the gap between the pay-to-win and the free-to-play when he was introduced. Because before the introduction of this set, the pay-to-win could farm infinitely, while the free-to-play had a limited amount of access to good gear because they couldn't farm that much as the pay-to-win. With the introduction of the Forge and the good sets from the Forge, that being one of the most impactful ones, this gap diminished because the free-to-play had access to forge a lot of these pieces, and these pieces had so much quality that decreased the difference in gap between the pay-to-win and the free-to-play. Social impact of the forge. Okay, and this set was the representation of that. Affinity Breaker, the first Doom Tower set. Okay, we are going now to enter the Doom Tower sets that were introduced on the game by the Doom Tower content. The first is the Affinity Breaker. 4 pieces of set, gives critical damage and 50% of chance of a weak hit be converted to critical hit. Okay, very niche set that it is useful. We need a very few amount of pieces, but we need some pieces. Okay, so I'm going to put it here on the useful side of the pieces. We need to keep some pieces of this set. Okay, not crazy amount, but enough to build 2-3 champions, supports or nuker. So we need a support kit or a nuker kit, more than one probably, so you can adjust your champions with it. Okay, the Chimera made this set more impactful right now. Including me, I need to raise the amount of pieces I farmed. This rotation that we have on the Doom Tower right now is the rotation that you should farm the Affinity Breaker, by the way. And it is a good set to use on bosses, Hydra, Chimera, Clan Boss, because when you need to land debuffs and you are failing because of your affinity, this is the set that helps you. Untouchable set. Like I said, Immunity set was extremely impactful in the past, one of the best sets of the game in the past, but he lost space because new versions of it appeared and they were more powerful. The Untouchable set is a example of that, gives with 4 pieces, same amount of the immunity, the same effect, immunity for 2 turns, but adds another thing. So it is a upgraded version of the immunity, and it took space from it. Okay, so we have on the untouchable set a upgraded version of the immunity, but I'm going to put it here on the top of the immunity because it's still useful, it's still more useful than the immunity, but we had a new set that does the same and a lot more that stole the place of these 2 sets. We're going to reach it in a few moments. Untouchable is another set from the Dune Tower. Fatal set, another set that we farm from the Dune Tower. 2 pieces of set that gives attack and critical rate. This is like a better version of the offense set. Not very impactful. Not very impactful at all. It is a C tier, but in my opinion, one of the top of the C tier. Maybe here. You can keep some pieces, but only perfect ones. You're not going to use specifically on any champion, but one that you can. For example, champions like Shamael. It's a champion you can build with this set, for example, because he does not need to ignore defense because of his skill effect. So it is an example, but in general, we don't need this set that much. Okay, so you're only going to keep good pieces. Frostbite set. Okay, 2 pieces of set, has 50% of chance to block freeze debuffs, and has 10% of chance of placing freeze debuff on the attacker. Another upgraded version. I said that the Frost set lost space to a better version of it. The Frost set has a 4 pieces requirement that the Frostbite does the same thing and better with just 2 pieces. So he's a useful set. And between the useful sets, a good one. Okay, you can use it both on PvE and PvP with good result. It is sometimes takes you with the guard down, that because you most of the time do not expect champions like UDK, for example, that you can put 6 pieces of Stone Skin and 2 pieces of Frostbite, and you attack a champion, the UDK sucks, you attack to him, and suddenly you got froze. That's where this set comes in to do something impactful. Okay, so this is the Frostbite. Blue Thirst, another Doom Tower set. It is the better version. Okay, 4 pieces gives critical hate and heals 30% of damage dealt. It is the evolution of the lifesteal set, but has the same amount of impact of the lifesteal nowadays, even lower because we don't farm this set at all. So I'm going to put here in front of the lifesteal set, but with the exactly same non-usage at the moment right now. Guardian set. Very good, useful set that we had in the past. It's a 4 pieces of set that the wearer absorbs 10% of all damage dealt to the allied champions and heals by 10% every turn. Damage absorbed is not reduced by defense. Okay, so this is a unique set. It played the major role in the past, and now it is a little bit forgotten, let's say like that, but it still has some utility. So I'm going to put him here in the useful tier. We need some amount of pieces. He steals a set that heals, okay, like the regeneration. He heals every turn, so has a good effect around that, and a different effect. Sometimes strategies can spot and around that, and we might need this set to be used again, so it's good to keep some amount of pieces of it. Fortitude, one of the best pieces that we had on the Dune Tower because it is the evolution of the resistance set. So I'm going to put it in front of the resistance set here on the very good tier because it is a 2-piece set that gives resistance and extra defense. Evolution of the resistance set, okay, but not as impactful as the evolution of the accuracy set that it is the perception, okay. So it's a very good set. We can have some good amount of pieces around it because resistance is a relevant stat, and we want to keep some. And now the best set that we had for the Dune Tower, the most impactful, the one that we wait 3 months to farm it And the extremely powerful set from the Doom Tower. It is the lethal set. 4 pieces of set that gives 10% critical rate and ignores 25% of the defense. Basically, he is the upgraded version of the Savage. And Savage is here on the SS tier. So this is a set that is in front of the Savage here in terms of quality, okay? Because this is the most impactful offensive set of the game, okay? Between all the sets that we have in the game, this is the strongest in my opinion, in the way we can apply him, okay? We have stronger sets for PvE and we have stronger sets for PvP, but in most amount of occasions, this is the strongest overall, okay? And it is a set that we cannot farm as much as we can farm the Savage, but we can farm a lot more than we can farm the Divine Speed compared to the Speed. So it has more impact, okay? This is one of the strongest sets in the entire game. Offensive-wise, it is a magical set, okay? The higher the amount of lethal pieces that you have, the higher you farm the Dark Fae, better quality of nukers you're going to have on your account, because he's a stronger version of the Savage with top quality, and you can use it on the Forge, and you can put here to on the lethal you can put top quality glyphs to forge it, okay? And this way you get top quality pieces more often than anything. Okay, this is something that's really impactful. There will be a video about forging in the future when I get more time. And let's keep it. This is the end of the sets of the Doom Tower. And now we're going to enter the Hydra sets. Protection and Stone Skin were sets introduced into the game by the Hydra content, and automatically they became extremely powerful. These are the first 9 pieces sets introduced to the game, so we have an effect on 1 piece, 2 piece, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, 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 until 9. Okay? They are extremely powerful. Protection, variable set. It keeps 1 to 9 pieces and you get resistance, HP, speed, and the chance of protecting buffs cast by the warriors. And if you have 9 pieces, allies deal 5% more damage for each active buff on them cast by the wearer. This is a set with uncomparable impact for PvP and PvE, like top tier, okay? So, basically, I'm going to drag the protection set here. Wow. And suddenly we have something more impactful than the speed set, because it does more things, okay? And as you can read from the set, it also brings the speed. Okay, so it's a set that you can have on your fastest champions. For example, on my account, my fastest champion is Galatier. As you can see, half of his set, it is protection. He has 5 pieces of protection and only 2 pieces of speed, because my protection gear is faster than my speed gear, and both give us speed. Okay, for sure. There are differences between the amount of speed these sets gives, but the impact of the highest speed that you can get on your account and the effect of the set make the protection set crazy. And I'm talking about PvP on this side. PvE wise, having 9 pieces of protection is something phenomenal towards damage to a team. Top quality compositions have champions building 9 protections to raise your damage by a crazy high amount. Like, we're talking about doubling the damage or increasing the damage by 50%. This is how impactful this set it is. One of the strongest sets introduced to the game, PvP and PvE wise. And that brings us to the Stone Skin, the broader set. This set changed the meta. Okay, this set is still the strongest set on the PvE scenario, at least until the Mercurial set become more popular. This is another variable set, 9 pieces. You equip from 1 to 9 pieces and give us 80 resistance, 18% HP, 30% defense. Stone Skin buff, crazy good buff. For 2 turns at the start of the round, has 50% of chance of blocking removals or steals, and increases Stone Skin shield by the value of the 9 piece, okay? This is the set that changes the meta, and right now is the most impactful set on the PvP scenario. I'm going to put it here lower than the protection, because the protection has an impact on PvP and PvE. We have strategies on the PvE around Stone Skin, but they are very low amount. Compared to the protection is more impactful on PvP and PvE, that's why he's on a higher position here on the SS tier. But the Stone Skin set, it is the strongest set in the game, at the moment at least, for the PvP scenario, okay? Half, or even more of half of your champions would use Stone Skin set if you use them on Arena, okay? This is how impactful this set is, it changes the meta. If you don't have Stone Skin, you become an easy target most of the time. Okay, this set is responsible for half of the wins and half of the loss of the players, because if you can't remove it, or if you can remove it, or if it by any RNG chance you cap the Stone Skin, you might win battles. That's how strong this set is. This set changed the entire meta of the PvP, and is still the top core of the meta, Stone Skin. Okay, this is the reason, these two sets are the reason we keep farming the Hydra, because it is the resource and the source of these two sets. Keystroke, a set that we get from the store of the clan. It is the upgraded version of the critical damage set. It gives on 2 pieces critical damage and speed, so I'm going to put it here in front of the critical damage set, because it's the upgraded version of it with similar effect. Useful set, B tier, you're gonna keep some. Okay? And we have Instinct set, new set introduced to the Forge. Gives us 4 pieces of set that give us speed and ignore defense. So it gives lower amount of ignore defense than the Savage, but gives us the extra effect of the speed. So I'm going to put it here on the top of the S tier at the moment. Extremely powerful set. Okay, I don't think it is as crazy as the Savage, because 5% of ignore defense makes a huge difference. Okay, 5% is a lot of damage. Okay, but sometimes the speed compensates. Okay, sometimes the sets can be here. Okay, depends on the account. It's another set that we need a huge amount. You can only get it from the Forge, so it is a worth pass to buy. Okay, because the set brings a lot of utility. Okay, this is like a speed version of the Savage set. Okay, very impactful set. Give us something about between speed and the Savage ignore defense. So it is very useful to the arena and very useful to the PvE scenario too. Bolster set. This set was the top of core of the meta when he was launched, because he was phenomenal. It gave us a shield set, exactly the same thing, but it is unremovable. Okay, so this was the butter version of the shield set, and I'm going to actually put here an extremely powerful set at the bottom. From PvP scenario, this is extremely powerful. Okay, way more powerful than the shield set because of the unremovable aspect of it. But for the PvE scenario, the shield set's better. Okay, because you cannot extend the turn count of the shield that you get from the bolster set, but you can extend the turn count of the shield set that you get from the shield set. The shield that you get from the shield set. Okay, so Titus compositions, you cannot use bolster set, you can only use shield set. Sorry, that's something that makes a difference. Defiant set, 2 pieces that gives defense and 50% less damage taken from AoE. So remember that I said that the Stalwart set lost space to a better version of it. Here it is it. Okay, the Defiant set is a 2 pieces of set that does what Stalwart does and more. So I'm going to put it on the very good placement here after the Cruel set, because it is a good set. Some strategies around it works, some uses of PvP and mostly on the PvE around it occurs. He is impactful set. Not crazy amount of times we're going to use it, but when he is used, he is extremely impactful. For example, we had the boss in a few event dungeons ago that we are able to solo the boss with Uros because of this set. You just need to put this set on Uros and he would solo the boss. So a strategy that can only be made by using this set. Okay, that's sometimes a very niche set, but very impactful. And we now have the last sets of the game that are introduced recently, and they are extremely powerful. All of them. All of these sets that we're going to have right now on the screen are the new sets of the game, and they came basically to replace all the sets that we have until now because they are extremely powerful. They do the same or even more of the last sets, but more. Let's start with the Impulse, one of the sets that we get from the live arena. Okay, is a 2-piece offset that gives speed, the same as the speed set. Somehow the speed set gives more. I think it gives, let me see, 12%. No, exactly the same. So it is a better version of the speed set. Okay, and also gives 12% of chance of reducing the cooldown for random skill. So basically, this set is a fusion between the reflex set and the speed set, and it has only 2 pieces to use. So in impact, this set is here. Okay, he's stronger than the speed set, and he is extremely powerful. But overall, the speed set should be higher because we can farm the speed set and we cannot farm the impulse set as much as we farm the speed, okay? The limited amount of fights you can do on live arena makes this set limited, okay? The same from the Zio set, another set we get from the live arena result. 2 pieces of set that gives critical damage, the same as the critical damage set, but it has an extra effect. 3% more damage for every 25% the champion has. So 12% more damage if you're full HP. And that brings this set to be one of the craziest source of damage that we have in the game. Okay? Right now I'm going to put him here. S tier, extremely powerful. You need to keep many pieces, almost all you have, but offensive pieces. Okay, this is a set that makes the top damages in the game, okay, are based on this set. So when you see a world record on Chimera, world record on Hydra, usually world record on Clan Boss, usually this set is part of the build of the champions that you're seeing doing this kind of damage, because he is the highest source of damage in top quality performance. Okay, he's not very used on PvP because of the meta. Usually we don't have space to use 2 pieces of set anymore, but if we had, this would be one of the sets that we would use. Let's go new sets from the Forge. Right-to set. Right-to set on 2 pieces gives speed and resistance, so basically he's the fusion between the speed set with a little bit low amount of speed and the resistance set, and that makes him an extremely powerful set. Okay, extremely powerful set. So I'm going to put him here in the top positions of the S tier because this set is very good. We have people with these as highest amount of speed set in the account, and he's also really top quality when you want to build a champion with high amount of resistance and high amount of speed. For example, my Galatier before has this full speed build, had a build based on this set, okay, because he was the fastest gear that I had on my account and with the highest amount of accuracy that I have. Okay, so this is an extremely powerful set and one of the sets that you put your resources in. A very good pass, Forge pass that you can buy. And now the 2 sets that we get from the Cintranos, the Cursed City. First, Supersonic, another 9-piece of set, variable set. You can equip 1 to 9 pieces and gives 50% HP, 40% rest, 32% speed, 2% turn meter increase for each buff placed on each enemy, and 30% reduction to decrease turn meter effects against the champion. 30% increase turn meter few effects cast by the wearer when having 9 pieces. Extremely powerful. Extremely powerful set. Not S tier, let me be clear. This is a set that it is SS tier, okay? He changed a little bit the meta, okay? It is a set that we can use 4 pieces in a lot of occasions on the PvP scenario. It is a set that we can also use 5 pieces to get extra speed, and it is a set we can use 9 pieces for PvE scenario and get an amazing effect, okay? This is extremely powerful set. We cannot farm it that much because the amount of fights we do on Centranos are limited by month. So we're still gonna get most of our fastest champions on speed set because we can farm it, but it doesn't make Supersonic less effective. Merciless set, the strongest offensive set in the game on paper, okay? Another variable set, you can equip 1 to 9 pieces and you have 25% attack, 30% critical damage, 10% speed, 30% of chance of decreasing a random skill cooldown by 1 turn when dealing damage, and 35% ignore defense, plus 15% of chance of extra turn. You can see the amount of stats, the amount of effects. This set is incredible. He is by far one of the strongest sets in the game. Okay, right now I'm going to put him here on the top of everything that we had till now, because this set is the only set that you need to play it on PvP and PvE, both on the nukers and on the supports. Before the Chimera, and that wasn't a true statement, before the Chimera maybe he was here, or maybe even here, you know? But after the Chimera, we dragged him to the top. Because when you're building a support to Chimera, for example, my Galatir, I use him on Chimera. When I'm going to change the build for Chimera, look what happens to his build when he's used on Chimera. We use 4 pieces, okay? We use 4 pieces of Merciless on it when I'm building him for Chimera. So my top quality support uses that kind of set on Chimera. And my top quality nuker, my favorite nuker, for example, look, 9 pieces of Merciless. That's how I build him. So this is the highest amount of damage a champion can do in normal situations. Let's say not a perfect situation, you build the whole team to do the damage. 0 is better to do top quality damage if you have the whole team built. But in a single champion situation, 6 pieces of Merciless is the top core build of damage that we have right now. So this is the best damage dealing set that we have in the game, and it has a very impactful support role in the bosses fights right now, even on PvE scenario fights, not only bosses. So this is one of the most impactful sets in the game, and it's a Synchrono set that it is very limited the amount that we get. So it's another set that we're gonna have crazy amount of pieces saved. Okay? Because how good he is. Slayer set. It is a Forge Pass with 9 pieces that we have. Variable set, we can equip 1 to 9 pieces. Give us 15% critical rate, 30% critical damage, 10% speed, 5% more turn meter increase per each enemy hit by AoE attacks. Ignore 30% of enemy defense when using AoE skills, and has a 30% of chance to deal additional AoE damage based on the initial damage dealt by the AoE skill. So it's a very heavy damage dealing set, very offensive damage dealing set, okay? But only works for AoE content, and you need a lot of pieces to make it work. 6 pieces at least to make it useful. So I'm going to put it as extremely powerful set, but I'm going to put it here, okay? On a position that most of the time we use it on PvE scenarios. We use 9 pieces or maybe 6 pieces to face Chimera, Clan Boss, Hydra, okay? but it's very hard to use in PvP because the champion using it needs to necessarily use only AoE skills and there's not going to be any defensive set around it. So it is not good to the meta on PvP, but it's really impactful as damage dealing to the PvE. Pharaoh set, a set introduced by the Siege content into the game. Okay, this is the evolution of the Untouchable and the evolution of the Immunity. This is the set that replaces both because it is a variable set. You can equip 1 to 9 pieces that give us 120 accuracy, 15% speed, and block debuffs for 2 turns at the start of the round with 4 pieces, exactly the same amount as Untouchable and Immunity. Has a 50% of chance to prevent the placement of ship debuff by the Polymorph Blessing with 6 pieces, and allies deals 5% more damage for each active debuff cast by the wearer. So this is a set that is extremely impactful both on PvP and PvE. So I'm going to put him here alongside the protection, so in the middle of the stone skin and the protection. Okay, he is the opposite side of the protection. You know, the protection gives us the speed, he gives us the speed. The protection gives us resistance, it gives us accuracy. The protection gives us more damage when we put buffs on our champions. The Pharaoh gives us more damage when we put debuffs on our enemies. So he is the mirrored version of the protection with good, impactful things on PvP and PvE. Like 9 pieces on PvE scenario is amazing. Like I said, world records on everything. The debuffers are using 9 pieces of Pharaoh right now. It's a mandatory thing to upgrade your damage by a far great amount, okay? So the Pharaoh set is extremely impactful on that. This is how good the Pharaoh set it is. It has such a impactful thing because low amount of pieces give us speed. Like, this is crazy, okay? And this is the first set that we have introduced to us that low amount of speeds give us, low amount of pieces give us speed. I think the first it was Supersonic. No, Supersonic is 3 pieces. The same for protection. Protection, it is 3 pieces that give us speed. So this was the first set introduced to us that 2 pieces give us speed. So we could raise our speeds a little just using accessories. For example, a ring and a necklace. This is the first set that gives us this situation, this scenario, the Pharaoh set. And that was game changing back in the time. It raised the general speed level of the accounts. And we have the 4 pieces giving us the immunity and also a lot of accuracy and speed. So it's used on nukers and on supports in many occasions on the PvE. And the 9 pieces being crazy good on the PvE scenario. This is one of the most phenomenal sets in the game, one of must. We do Siege because we want these to be farmed all the time. This is extremely impactful, extremely powerful. And when you reach tier 6 of the Siege, you're going to get these pieces always on the mythical version. So it is one of the highest source of very high speed pieces in the game. For example, in an account like mine, if I put top core speed pieces and I take away the boots, for sure they're going to have crazy speed. Look, on my tops, the fastest piece on my account is on this set. It's my only pentaron speed, it is on this set, okay? And if you see the amount of quad rolls on speed on my account is the only set that I have 3, okay? So this is a crazy impactful set speed-wise to most of the accounts, not only mine. Most of the accounts in the game, this is one of the highest sources of speed. Okay, so right now, extremely powerful, impactful set, one of the best. Pinpoint, the first even dungeon set introduced to the game, it broke the meta, because we had the meta only around the polymorph back in the time, and this was the first thing introduced to the game that countered polymorph. It's a variable set that you can keep 1 to 9 pieces and gives accuracy, speed, and it was an introduction of the intercept stacks into the game. These stacks can block any crowd control thing thrown on you. So this was an amazing, phenomenal set introduced to the game, and still one of the craziest sets that we have right now. I really need this dungeon to come back because this is a very impactful set to have. I'm going to put it here on the SS tier category alongside the speed and the supersonic and the impulse, because they are all sets that give us speed and extra effects. Okay, the only bad part around that set, the pinpoint, is it's an even dungeon set, so we can only farm it when the event dungeon, the specific pinpoint event dungeon, comes. Okay, so we only had that twice in the game history, so it is as impactful as the speed set with extra effects. Okay, and very impactful extra effects. It is still one of the best sets in the game for a lot of scenarios. This is one of the best, and speed-wise, it was one of the sets that with 2 pieces gave us 10% speed. So, like the Pharaoh gave us, the first set to give us 5% with 2 pieces, this set raised the speed level of everybody a little bit higher because it was the other set introducer that could raise your speed with 2 pieces. So you could put 2 pieces on your any champions on your accessories and get 10% speed out of that. This is crazy. Stone Cleaver and Rebirth. Okay, 2 other sets introduced with the season on the live arena. Okay, they are both 9-piece sets with very unique effects. Stone Cleaver is a variable set that gives us attack, critical damage, speed, and ignores 20% of the defense, and also the chance of getting up to 100% ignore Stone Skin shield. Okay, so he does more damage on the Stone Skin shield. Okay, not ignore, more damage on the shield. Yeah. 100% more damage on the Stone Skin shield. I don't know why I said ignore. Okay, so using 9 pieces of this set, you're going to do 100% more damage on the Stone Skin set. So you can combo with the Blessing, okay, that does more damage, cracking roots, and maybe destroy Stone Skin. It's a very specful set, but a very new set, and we can only farm it on the seasonal live arena. So it's not a set that we have many exemplars yet. Not many players have champions build on this set because it's a very niche set to be farmed only a few moments every month or every part of the month. So it's not a set we can have farming all the time, or it only is extremely impactful when we have many pieces of it. We need 9 pieces most of the time, or 6 to make it an impactful version of a set. Maybe 4 pieces for some strategies, but it is not an easy set to use, but it is extremely powerful. I'm going to put it here on the extremely powerful part of it, but I'm going to put here him on the bottom because of how we're gonna use it. And the Rebirth set, okay? Another version of set that we get from exactly the same source. Seasons on Live Arena. It's a variable set. You can equip 1 to 9 pieces and give us 32% speed, 60 resistance, 10% HP, and 10% turn meter to allies revived by this champion. Places a block damage buff on the wearer for 1 turn when ally is killed by an enemy, and decrease the cooldown of an enemy revived ally skill by 1 turn when having 9 pieces. So it is another speed set with a very incredible effect. So I'm going to put it here, okay, in front of the speed set because it has very impactful speed effects and a very good effect, but like the Stone Cleaver, we don't have the way of farming it crazy high. Okay, it would be a lot better if we could farm that in another way of farming it in a dungeon, because we would have access to more pieces and we could increase our strategy number of champions using these pieces, because they are extremely impactful, but it's very hard to have a champion equipped because we have low amount of pieces at our disposal in general. Chronophase, one of the sets that also are only at our disposal by an event dungeon, is another 9-piece variable set. So it gives us resistance, speed, and immutable stacks. The immutable stacks prevent our skills to be placed on cooldown. This is the first introduction to it. It's another set that with 2 pieces give us speed, so it's extremely impactful. So I'm also going to put the chronophage here alongside the pinpoint, but the pinpoint is a lot better, sorry, even below the rebirth. The pinpoint is a lot better, in my opinion. It is a lot more impactful. The 4 pieces is extremely more impactful than the 4 pieces of chronophage, but the chronophage gives us very important stats. Okay, it's a very good source of speed and another effect with low amount of pieces, but again, another set that we only had on one event dungeon until now, so we only had a few moments to farm it and only once in the history of raid. So maybe in the future we have more opportunities. And the last set introduced to the game until now, Mercurio, introduced by the Green Forest content. It's a variable set that you can equip up to 1 to 9 pieces, give us HP, resistance, speed, and up to 3 total guard stacks. Right now, I think this is the strongest set in the game. Okay, in general, he's the fusion between the speed set and the protection and the stone skin set. So you have 2 SS sets fused, and the result, it is the Mercurial set. So this is extremely powerful. Right now, I think this set is a little bit more impactful than it should be, because I don't know if the behavior of the buff, the guard that it gives, the total guard buff, that is the buff introduced into the game by this set, it basically prevents anything to be thrown in your champion. So anything that causes an effect on your champion, being a debuff or a damage, should remove a stack of that. At the moment, that is not happening, okay? Some debuffs are thrown on your champion and you nullify them without losing a stack. So I don't know if this is the normal behavior of the total guard. Sorry if nerf comes in the future, because not many players are using that set yet. It's a very new set. It has less than 20 days in the game yet, and it's one of the sets that we didn't have the chance of testing it on the test server. So it is a set that the players are going to test before the content creators, because we didn't have access to it on the test server. So for example, on my account, I don't have anybody built on it because I didn't got good pieces on Mercurial set yet, but in the future I will have. Everybody will have. Like I said, at the moment, he's the strongest set in the game, because he makes the fusion between the defensive buff, like the stone skin, that it is the total guard, and he gives us very impactful stats like the speed, the resistance, and the HP. Okay, so it is like a fusion between the stone skin and a speed set. At the moment, stronger than anything. 9 pieces of Mercurial makes champions almost unkillable in some situations. So right now, this set is crazy broken. Crazy broken. I think the situation of him need to be studied, because he's so new. We didn't have time. I think I didn't face anybody, or maybe once or twice on the arena, on the situation, but on the tests that my friends are doing, we see many broken applications of the total guard. Okay, for example, people build HUV with 9 pieces of Mercurial, and the Armands use a polymorph on it. The HUV denies the polymorph, and the total guard does not lose a stack. So I don't know if it is that normal situation, or if it is bugged or something around it. But the way it is right now, on paper, it is the strongest set. In the actual situation, it is broken as hell. Broken as hell. If you can build champions on Mercurial, go ahead. You're going to take easy wins against your opponents, because it's a crazy strong set. It has the defensive side of it on the total guard, nullifying what is strong on your champions, and it has the extra effects that are really impactful, like resistance, HP, and speed. Okay, so this concludes our tier list that is behind me. We rated all the 64 sets in the game based on their importance and how should you behave towards them. This is our final list. Okay, we have everything here, and there is one more thing that I need to say. When you have ores, that is a very important asset. When you have top quality glyphs, even more speed glyphs, resistance, accuracy, try to use these resources on the sets from this tier. Okay, most of the time your ores should be used on sets that you chase speed. Okay, because these sets that you chase speed are easier to target the right thing that you want to use ore. Only one stat matters, that it is speed. When you use ore on an offensive set like Merciless, Lethal, Savage, okay, it is harder to get what you want because you don't need only one stat to be right. You need the main stat sometimes, and you need multiple substats to the piece to be good. For example, speed, critical rate, critical damage, attack percentage. This is a good piece of an offensive set. But when you target only speed, for example, you want a quadro on a Mercurial set, you just need to strike speed on it. Okay, so to use ores top quality set, it is speed. In my general opinion, I would put speed here, okay? But I need to be fair to the audience because speed between all these sets, speed is the only one that we can farm alongside Savage, okay? So the impact of speed in most of the accounts, it's crazy, okay? But to be fair, these sets have better effect than the speed at the moment, okay? So we need to be fair to what the sets deserves. And remember that tip, use ores only on this set and mostly on sets that you're trying to get speed, okay? That's it. That's our all 64 sets ranked and classified based on what they give to your accounts. That's how you should handle your resources. And that's it. If you enjoy this kind of content, sorry for the move, 1 hour and a half. I know it's a lot, but when you're trying to do good content, it takes time, okay? As always, Christian bring you some information, and if you enjoy this kind of content, do not forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and remember one more thing, it's all about arena.